Moving to our late season diseases, Anthracnose first. This is caused by the fungal pathogen Calotatricum truncatum. This is a disease that we find evidence of much later in plant development, although the infection can occur even in the seed and seedling stage. Early infections can result in pre or post-emergence damping off, much like we saw with the Pythium, Phytophthora, Fusarium, and Rhizoctonia in our seedling blight phase. We also find that foliar symptoms appear late in the growing season and include the petiole, cankers on that petiole, leaf rolling, necrosis, laminar veins, and mature defoliation. As the plants become mature in the late growth stages of R7 or R8, the fungus can produce a cervuli, and this is a fruiting structure or fruiting body that resembles black specks on the stem itself. And these are a symptom that can be used for identification. The bodies of a cervuli will be randomly on the stems and not in a row. That is indication of another disease that we'll discuss in just a moment, that of pod and stem blight. If the disease continues to develop on the pods, seed quality can be an issue, and it will be compromised in a reduction then not only in quality but in quantity of yield. This is an image of a stem of soybeans where anthracnose is an issue. The acervuli, or the little black peppery appearance that you see there, are actually the fruiting structures of the fungus, but if you will note, they are scattered. They're there randomly. They do not line up in a particular line. That can be seen in this particular image too. As far as conditions for development, the disease favors period of high relative humidity. That is very often the case late in the season in summers in Louisiana. Infection occurs throughout the growing season. The fungus overwinters in crop debris and infected seed, which brings us then to our disease management practices, where we need to, again, bury crop residue immediately after harvest. This will help break down the organic matter, help to reduce the amount of inoculum in the soil, and fungicide-treated seed are recommended for the next season to protect the early development of the plant, and of course fungicides are helpful too. Because infection can occur at the seed and seedling stage of the soybean plant with the anthracnose fungus, it's important that fungicide-treated seed be used in planting each season. This gives early season protection, and then later in the year, about reproductive growth stage 5, it's important for a foliar application, stem application, petiole application, in order that we get protection then for the rest of the season. Our last disease then will be the pod and stem blight, which is very similar to anthracnose in many ways. Many of the symptoms involved will be similar. This one is caused by the fungus Diaporthy phaseolorum soji. It too can produce fruiting bodies late in the season. They look like little black specks. And we generally don't see it until the reproductive stage 7. What's interesting about the pycnidia involved, the fruiting structures of this particular fungus, is that they do line up in rows on the stems and the pods. In favorable conditions persist, we get seed quality will be compromised. This is an image of the pycnidia on the bean hull itself. There is not the place where the pycnidia line up. That's done on the stem and on the petiole. In this particular case, on the extreme right side, you can see that there are pycnidia lined up in rows. And in this particular slide, you can see it better where there are pod symptoms, and then there are the stem symptoms or petiole symptoms where the pycnidia are lining up. As far as conditions for development, the disease likes the warm, moist weather that we have many times toward the end of the season. The fungus will overwinter in the crop residue or on infected seed. That being the case, with our disease management, we need to bury the residue immediately after harvest. And when planting seed the next year, the seed need to be treated with a fungicide. And of course, as we mentioned with anthracnose, fungicides can be very beneficial, especially late in the season. But applications need to be made about reproductive stage 5 to protect it from that point to the rest of the season. These were the major diseases of soybeans, but there are some general recommendations that we'd like to make as far as disease management. Always plant in well-drained soil. This will prevent many of our Pythium and Phytophthora issues where high soil moisture is always an issue and conducive to disease development. Always choose varieties that are adapted to your area, varieties that have been grown and evaluated by the LSU AgCenter. Choose varieties that have a good disease package for the major diseases that occur in your area. Even though we've talked about a lot of different diseases, that does not mean that your field will have all of these, but they may indeed have some, and we need to prevent their development. We also suggest using fungicide-treated seed. This is very important for many reasons. First of all, it will protect against the seed and seedling issues that occur early in our season, but also even some of the diseases like pod and stem blight and anthracnose, where a seedling phase does occur. It will help the plants get established and developed, and then we can come back with a foliar fungicide later to protect us for the rest of the crop. If disease occurs, have them identified by a qualified diagnostician. This is important because you do not want to treat for the wrong thing. You could be wasting time and money in that process. And if fungicides are used, use them according to label directions. Always use the label directions. The label is the law. As far as resources for all our viewers today, that we have county agents in all 64 parishes that are ready, willing, and able to help you in your diagnosis. We also have the Plant Diagnostics Center with the website that you see there. And we also have the Plant Disease Management Guide, which if after identification you want to know what possibilities of fungicide, what ranges could be used, and their rates and timing, this information is present in the control guide. And then lastly, the contacts, because myself there as a plant pathologist, but also Trey Price, who is a plant pathologist at the Macon Ridge Research Station in Winsboro, and Boyd Paget, who is a plant pathologist at the central region of the LSU AgCenter at Alexandria. With that, we thank you for your attention with this, and if you have any particular questions, please feel free to contact us at any time.